So for this video, we will going to review some related formulas about conic sections or some basic formulas about analytic geometry. So first, what is analytic geometry? Analytic geometry is a branch of mathematics that studies geometry using the coordinates system. One of its main topic is the conics or the conic section. But first, let us have a review of the basic formulas in analytic geometry, as it may be helpful in analyzing and solving the succeeding topics. So as you can see here, this is a Cartesian plane. And the Cartesian plane includes 4 quadrants. This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. It also has 2 axes that intersect each other. The first one, this horizontal line, is the x-axis and the vertical line is the y-axis. And the point of intersection is called the origin or the point 0, 0. Okay, so let's start reviewing some related formulas that we will going to use on the succeeding topics regarding conic sections. Let's start with sloping distance formula, the distance between a line and a point, and the midpoint formula. So for sloping distance between 2 points, or what we know or what we commonly know as distance formula, the formula is d is equal to the square root of the quantity x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus the quantity y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared, wherein x sub 2 and x sub 1 are the coordinates or the x coordinates of the 2 points, and y sub 2 and y sub 1 are the y coordinates of the 2 points. So let's try to find the distance between point A, negative 2, 5, and point B, 3, negative 1. So we will going to assign values for x sub 2, x sub 1, y sub 2, and y sub 1. So let's say 3, negative 1, this is our x sub 1, and this is our y sub 1, and point A is our x sub 2 and y sub 2. So we will going to substitute the given, the 2 points on our formula. So d is equals to the quantity x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared. So our x sub 2 is 3 minus negative 2 squared plus the quantity y sub 2 is negative 1 minus y sub 1 is 5 squared. And then simplify. 3 minus negative 2 is the same as 3 plus 2, which is 5 squared, plus negative 1 minus 5 is negative 6 squared. Then 5 times 5 is 25, negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. So square root of 25 plus 36 is square root of 61. Since the square root of 61 is not a perfect square, we can assume that square root of 61 is equal to 7.81 or 7.8 rounded off. Okay, so the distance from point A to point B is almost 7.81. So that is the sloping distance between 2 points or the distance formula. Next is the distance between a line and a point. So if we have a line, so an equation of line like this, and 1 point, this is the formula that we will going to use to find the distance between this point and this line. So the formula is given by d is equal to ax plus by plus c all over positive or negative square root of a squared plus b squared, wherein a, b, and c can be found on the equation of the line, and x and y can be found on the coordinates of the point. So let's try to solve or find the distance between point 31, let's say this is point 31, and line 2x plus 3y minus 6. So our x and y here is x is 3, y is 1. And a, b, and c can be found on this line. A is the numerical coefficient of x, which is 2. B is the numerical coefficient of y, which is 3, and c stands for constant. Okay, so we have a 2, b3, and c negative 6. And we have x3, y1. Okay, so ax, so we have 2 times 3 plus by, we have 3 times 1 minus 6, constant, all over positive or negative square root of a squared, which is 2 squared, plus b squared, which is 3 squared. Okay, so simplify. 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 1 is 3, minus 6, all over 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9. So 6 plus 3 minus 6 is 3, all over 4 plus 9 is 13. So again, we cannot have radical sign on the denominator part, so we have to rationalize it. So after rationalizing it, this will become 3 square root of 13 over 13, or if we transfer or convert it to decimal, it is almost 0.83. So meaning the distance between the point 31 and the line 2x plus 3y minus 6 is 0.83. Next is the midpoint formula. The midpoint formula gets the middle point or the center of the two lines. So it divides the line into two equal parts. And the formula is x sub 2 plus x sub 1 divided by 2 for x, and for y is y sub 2 plus y sub 1 all over 2. Okay, so let us try to find the distance between point -65 and point 6 negative 1. We will going to assign values for x sub 2, x sub 1, y sub 2, and y sub 1. So we can say that x sub 2 is negative 6 and x sub 1 is 6. Y sub 2 is 5 and y sub 1 is negative 1. And we have constants 2. Okay, so we have x sub 2 plus x sub 1 is negative 6 plus 6 all over 2. Or negative 6 plus 6 is 0 divided by 2 is 0. And for y, we have 5 plus negative 1. 5 plus negative 1 is 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we can say that the midpoint of point -65 and 6 negative 1 can be found at 0 negative 2. So we have 0 positive 2 rather, 0 positive 2. So we can therefore say that the midpoint can be found here. So that is the midpoint formula.